Hey, what's up, guys? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. If you're new here, first off, thank you so much for joining me. But let me also quickly tell you what I do here. Every day of 2024, I have vowed to check out a new band or artist. You guys have been so kind watching, giving me suggestions of bands to check out. I really appreciate it, because I still got over 300 of these to go, so I definitely need the help. So, in the case of today's band, as you can see right there, Johnny Booth, I'm checking out 4 songs from across their discography, giving you my initial thoughts on the songs individually, ranking the songs, and then I'll come back and give you my overall thoughts on the artist. So what do I know about Johnny Booth going into this? Basically nothing. I really never even heard the name until about the end of last year when they had released a new album and people started going crazy for it in the metalcore circles. So I'm assuming they're a metalcore band. I'm assuming they're either doing something really interesting or they're really good at the current style that's been popping off as of late. So I really don't know what to expect. So I guess the best way to find out is to just dive in and listen to them. Alright, so the first Johnny Booth album was released way back in 2012. It was called Connections. So I checked out track 1 on that, called Panoramic. Well, that was a surprise. This was much more hardcore leaning than I originally expected it to be. I was thinking we were getting a metalcore band, but this is kind of a hardcore band that has some metal influences. Vocally, I enjoyed it. I will say the vocalist, assuming it's one guy, does both styles very well. The hardcore style vocals as well as the metal style vocals. Mostly screams, but he does both very naturally well. I dug the music for the most part. The hardcore sections I'm always a big fan of. I will say this would have probably worked better as a straight up hardcore song, as there were still quite a few musical breaks that probably didn't need to be in there since it sounded like a hardcore song, but clearly experimenting early on in their career. Alright, and their next album, First Hand Accounts, came out like 6 years after, in 2019, so they had a long time to work on it, and I checked out the song Rebuttal, which is actually their most streamed on Spotify. So this is another hardcore song. Right away, the runtime caught me. It's about a minute and a half, slightly over, which is, normal runtime for a hardcore song. And this was one of those hardcore songs that I don't know how else to describe it other than it's heavy, yet slow. You guys can let me know if you know what I'm talking about. The metal influence is, of course, still there. This is kind of actually exactly what I was asking for on the last song, so I guess I can't be too upset saying that it's a hardcore song, but they lengthened it out with metal. But don't worry, metal kids, the metal's still there. It's there in the instrumentation. Alright, we followed that up listening to a song from their 2022 Storyteller EP, and I checked out Crowd Control. Alright, so this is one of those rare moments where the intro was too long, but basically once we got out of the slow stuff for the first 10-15 seconds, something like that, I knew right away that Johnny Booth was trying something more pop sensible, and I was really going to dig this track, despite it being in the middle of a long intro. But I was right on my expectations, because in this song, not only do we get clean vocals, although they are still in the hardcore style, which I really enjoy that style when used perfectly. I don't think I could do a whole song with it, but when added in with other elements, it works really well, and that's the case here. But we also get a song with pop song structure. That's right. This song is the first song to have a chorus. But don't worry, kids. It still has what you like. We get not one, but 2 breakdowns of the song. So, hardcore kids, metal kids, you're going to be happy. Alright, so we're following that up with the 2023 album that I spoke of earlier. It's called Moments Elsewhere, and I checked out Collapse in the Key of Fireworks, which is an emo sounding song title, so hopefully I dig it. Alright, so I thought we turned a corner on the last track where they were going to start using pop song structure. That's not the case here. This goes back to, you know, regular metalcore, no songs, no traditional structure to it whatsoever. The chaos of it all is pretty good, but just wish we got that song structure in there. That being said, about the middle of the song, we get this kind of little funky musical break, and then it leads into the spoken word, clean vocal part, which I dug a whole lot. But then after the vocals stop, there's still about 30 seconds. It's about 10 seconds of interesting music, but then after that, I could honestly do without. So, too long of an intro once again. Alright, so those are my thoughts on these 4 songs individually. Let's rank them. Try to Act Surprised. At number 1, it's Crowd Control from the Storyteller EP. This one had pop song structure. I love me a good chorus, and that's basically what this song gave me. This one's tough. I think I will go Rebuttal at number 2. Both Rebuttal and the number 3 song had about a minute and a half that I enjoyed. I think that minute and a half I enjoyed more on the number 3 song, but Rebuttal was just short and sweet, and honestly, I can't overlook the fact that despite the song being short, everything of it was enjoyable. Which I'm sure you've guessed at number 3 is Collapse in the Key of Fireworks. Again, I would definitely take this last minute and a half of stuff that I enjoyed over Rebuttal, but I can't ignore the parts of the song that I did not like as much. And at 4 is Panoramic. Still don't really have anything negative to say about the song. They were trying some stuff out, seeing what sticks. They eventually made a really good career out of it, so clearly it worked out for them in the long run. But just compared to the other songs, this one doesn't have nearly as much polish, and because of that, isn't nearly as enjoyable. Alright, so my overall thoughts on Johnny Booth are as follows. They're not among my favorite hardcore bands right now, or metalcore, I guess, but I do think this band leans more hardcore than metal, so I'm going to call them a hardcore metal band. But they have all the pieces there that they could be. They just got to do a couple things to make me enjoy them a lot more. Number 1, bring back the pop song structure, which, for all I know, I'm wrong. You guys let me know in the comments. Maybe I just picked a bad song, and everything else is basically laid out properly on that Moments Elsewhere album. I just picked the most chaotic because that's what people tend to like the most, and that's why it has so many streams. I don't know. Like I said, let me know. But bring that back. Mold the metal into the songs more instead of just having it as separate things in the background that you could point out, being like, oh yeah, that's their metal influence. If it all molds together nicely, I'm much more impressed by it, which maybe they don't want to do. Maybe they're like, what's this Emo Cat Dad know? Absolutely nothing. I'm just saying what I would dig more. And honestly, that Crowd Control song did it for me. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad. I appreciate you watching to the very end of this video. Please, please, please go back and check out my other videos. There's a bunch of them. We're at day 50 something, coming up on 60. So we're almost under 300 more of these to do. We're approaching the end of February, so I still have 10 more months of videos, so I need your guys' suggestions. I've said it once, I've said it again. Give me suggestions of bands to check out. The more I get suggested a band or artist, the more likely I am to do it because, you know, I'm old. I forget things. So just keep the suggestions coming. Even if you've suggested it before and I haven't said it yet, just say it again. Maybe get other people on your side and I'll just eventually do it because it's at the forefront. But most importantly, what I need you guys to do is cut my wrists and hit subscribe. I'm your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad signing off. Until next time, I want to hear you sad.